I went to an AMC Screen Unseen earlier this week, and I haven't been in a while. I figured it would be one of two upcoming movies. I went in hoping it would be together and I would get to see it a week early, but it ended up being The Home starring Pete Davidson. Before I get into this film, I want to issue a spoiler alert because I will be talking about major plot points in the film. In The Home, Davidson plays Max, a troubled man who grew up in the foster system. His troubles began in his youth when he was told by his foster parents that his brother Luke, who he was very close with, committed suicide while away at school. That affected Max throughout his entire childhood and well into his adulthood. And because of that, he's gotten in trouble with the law a few times. One time in particular, he's caught doing graffiti, and in order to avoid jail time, he has to work at a retirement home as a live-in super for an extended period of time. I think it was 4 months. Soon, Max realizes this retirement home and its inhabitants aren't what meets the eye. And speaking of eyes, they are a major part of the film. Okay, so let's talk about the good before I talk about the bad. First, I love old people in horror. They automatically bring a level of humor and interest to me when it comes to the genre. So I enjoyed that the majority of the cast was of a certain age group. And Pete Davidson as the lead didn't bother me. This isn't his first time leading a movie, so I wasn't worried about him carrying it. And I think he did an okay job. Like, is he getting nominated for any awards? No. But I also don't think I could see anyone else doing this role. So he was a perfect fit for the context. Now, gore level for a horror film was up there if that's what you're into and that's what you're looking for, but it didn't reach that high level until the final act, and that was in like the last 15, 20 minutes. And then it turned into the New Year's Eve broadcast scene in The Substance. If you know, you know. Just blood and guts in a ridiculous amount. But if you're looking for gore, that's where you're going to find it in The Home. Now, on to the things I didn't like so much, which is the overall plot. I thought it was strange and slow. Every horror movie or films in general don't need to be filled totally to the brim with action or something happening in each scene to move the plot forward, but I think The Home needed it to be interesting. You don't get many jump scares or terrifying imagery. It's mostly Max in this old folks' home trying to figure out what's so off about the joint. So it kind of lacked some umph for me in that regards. And the big twist in the movie, spoiler alert, came from the old people being in some sort of cult, I want to say, and they were devoted to a god that kept them young. They would take eye juice, that's the only way I can really explain it. They took eye juice from young people they lured there as workers, and they would drink the goo because the eyes are the fountain of youth. And on the forbidden fourth floor was where all the victims were stored, including Max's presumed dead brother Luke, who had aged significantly. So I guess they just kept these people up there whenever they needed a re-up of eye juice to keep them young. It was also revealed that Max's foster parents were in this cult and they sent him there because he wasn't showing any potential in life, and they often sent other foster kids there, including his brother. But that plot just didn't work for me. I think if there was at least one other young worker like Max at the facility who mysteriously disappeared or mysteriously quit, then that could have added to the suspense or maybe make the stakes higher. And I can wrap my head around the old folks still in youth concept, but it just didn't have a strong enough build up to the reveal for me for it to be good. Also, I feel like this was a screen unseen because it was the only way to get a nice amount of people in the theaters to see this movie. No offense to Pete Davidson because I like Pete and I've seen other projects of his that I liked, but this movie was just not it. I think it would have been better as a streaming movie, honestly. It just gave that vibe. A Shudder, Peacock, hell, even a Tubi original. But since it's under the Lionsgate umbrella, a Stars original. Either way, I think it would have been better on streaming and it would have maybe gave audiences a better chance to see it if it was just straight from home. I just don't think it would do well in the box office, especially since it had zero promotion. I only saw a trailer through an accident, and because I check the AMC app often for new releases, I saw that it was on there. Overall, I didn't hate The Home because the concept wasn't terrible and it had some funny moments and adequate gore, but the execution just needed some work. The Home is now playing in theaters.